So you're thinking about a long-term stay in Vietnam. Maybe you're over 50 and you're trying to figure out the money side of things. Well, you're in the right place. Getting your banking sorted out legally and securely is, a huge piece of the puzzle. We're going to cut through all the noise and give you a straightforward, compliant guide. Let's get right into it. And that's really the heart of the matter, isn't it? The whole point isn't just to open some account. It's about building a financial life here that gives you real peace of mind. And that all starts with understanding the legal ground rules for your residency. All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with the legal bedrock, then we'll compare the key documents you need to know about. After that, we'll walk through exactly what the banks want, point out the common traps to avoid, and wrap it all up with a simple checklist to keep you secure. Okay, first things first, the law. You really can't talk about banking in Vietnam as a foreigner without starting here. Everything, and I mean everything, is built on this legal framework. It's basically the blueprint for your entire financial life in the country. And this is the big one we're talking about. Law number 47 from back in 2014. This isn't just some vague advice. This is the actual rule book that everyone, from immigration officials to the person at the bank counter, is following. So who does this law actually apply to? Well, here's the official lingo. Basically, if you're not a Vietnamese citizen and you're in the country, this is for you. It's a wide net, but it makes it super clear who needs to pay attention to these rules. And if you only remember one thing from this whole section, make it this. Your right to use the banking system here is completely tied to your immigration status. They are not separate things. A rock-solid legal residency means you get stable financial access. It really is that simple. All right, so if legal residency is the foundation, what are the actual documents we're talking about? Well, you've mainly got two options, a visa and what's called a temporary residence card, or TRC. And trust me, you absolutely need to know the difference. Let's use a simple analogy. A visa? It's like a key that lets you into the building just once. A TRC, on the other hand, is the full-on building access card. You can swipe in and out as much as you need to. So for anyone serious about living here, that TRC is the real goal. And you can see how this plays out in the real world. That tourist visa, a DL, might only give you 90 days, and for banking, it's shaky at best. It's totally up to the bank's mood that day. But look at the TRCs. A work or investor TRC gives you years, sometimes even a decade, of stability. That's what banks want to see for you to get the full suite of services. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. You've got your residency papers in order. What actually happens when you walk into the bank? What do you need to have in your hand to make it a smooth process? It really boils down to three pretty simple steps. First, just double-check that your legal status is all good and valid. Second, get your papers together. And third, you gotta show up in person. So what exactly are those papers? Here's your core checklist. The first two are pretty obvious, right? Your passport, and make sure it's valid for at least another 6 months, and your current visa or TRC. But this third one, this is the one that trips a lot of people up. Proof of your temporary residence registration. This isn't just a bank policy. It's a legal requirement where you declare your address with a local police. And believe me, banks are definitely asking to see it. Now for a really critical part. It's not just about getting an account open. It's about keeping it. As we look ahead, you've got to see compliance not as a hassle, but as the best way to protect yourself and your money long term. So I want you to ask yourself a very honest question. Look at your visa and then think about what you actually do here every day. Do they match? For example, are you living here year-round but just stringing together a bunch of short-term tourist visas? And here's why that's so important. This isn't my opinion. This is a direct quote from the official government e-visa portal. You are legally obligated to make sure your activities line up with your entry purpose. A mismatch here, that's where the problems begin. And this is why it matters right now, looking towards 2026. The trend is crystal clear. Banks are getting stricter. They're looking very closely at how stable a foreigner's residency is. If they see someone who is obviously living here long-term but is just doing visa runs, well, that's a huge red flag. It can get your application rejected or, even worse, get your existing services shut down. So, let's pull all this together into a clear action plan. How do you make absolutely sure your financial life here is built on solid rock, not on sand? Here's your final checklist and where to get the official info. All right, here are the 4 golden rules. 1, your paperwork has to match your reality, period. 2, watch those expiration dates like a hawk. Don't let them sneak up on you. 3, if you're really planning to live here, getting a TRC isn't just a nice idea, it's essential. And 4, always register your address with the local police. It's a non-negotiable. And look, rules and regulations can change, so please don't rely on something you read in an online forum 3 years ago. Go straight to the official sources. For anything related to money and banking, check with the State Bank of Vietnam. For all things visa and residency, the official Immigration Department portal is your go-to. So I'll leave you with this final question. Is your paperwork strong enough to actually support the life you're trying to build here in Vietnam? Because at the end of the day, that legal foundation is what holds everything else up. Get that right, and you can truly relax and enjoy everything this amazing country has to offer.